Right then, welcome back. Today we're mucking about with this, the 2017 Vyrus 986 M2 race bike. What a mouthful. And it's weird. It's just weird. It's weird. We went to Imola GP, so the one without the bottom chicane, and we did a reasonable time. The bike was a little bit weird. It's cooking the front tyre, so I'm on soft front, soft rear, and it just seemed to be just overwhelming that front tyre a little bit. And the biggest issue is world hunger, but the biggest issue on the game, it's just slow. It's not particularly quick for a race modified 600cc bike. So I thought I'll go somewhere tight and twisty. Went Cadwell Woodlands, and again I mucked about with the suspension, try and give the front a bit more support. Now it's got a funny front end, and what I mean by that is it's hub centre steering, so it's very similar to the Bimotor, and actually the people who designed the Vyrus work with Bimotor. I didn't know that. I found that out when I did a bit of digging about the Vyrus. So I thought, let's see, I'll put some rain tyres on. We went to Sugo, and we were outside the top 50, which is not too bad. It's a race modified 600, it's a competitive class, but that's a 998, I believe, Ducati in front of us, and it is just walking away. The Vyrus is not very quick. Once I'd been and raced in the rain and I was happy with the setup, actually I'd got my mind round how the bike worked. Went to Kanto, a 136.5, which would have put us 5th on the leaderboard, so I might go back and have a stab and see if I can get there. But again, lack of pace, corner speed off the chart, braking unreal. It just is so different compared to other 600s. It genuinely feels funny, and I'll come on to that and the pros and cons in a minute. But yeah, so thought, well, if I'm cooking a front tyre, I'll put a hard in then. And bear in mind, at Kanto I put a medium in because I thought, well, I can't get the changes out. Then I've gone to a hard, and the tyre's still yellow. It makes no difference whatsoever, apart from it's now not cooking the tyre on the soft. It was a nightmare. So last but not least, went to UMC Outer. It's a quick track, puts loads of load through the tyres, and I thought, well, if it's gonna have plenty of corner speed, we'll go and run in a hard and soft. You can see the tyres are nice and green. It will run the medium rear. I did run this one back and did the medium rear, and it did switch it on. It just lasts a bit longer, so if you're in a 5-lap race, you might want to switch to the medium rear. But all of this is done on a soft rear, so yeah, it's an interesting bike. Somehow, and this is not a criticism, this is a pat on the back for Milestone, they've managed to incorporate into the game's sort of physics model the lack of dip from the bike when you get on the brakes, because the whole point of hub centre steering, and I apologise for mansplaining and teaching you to suck eggs if you know, is that it separates the braking and steering forces on the bike. So there's no forks, it's just an extra swing arm that comes out the front of the chassis on the bike, and the chassis is completely different. Just, if you've never seen it, have a look on Wikipedia or the internet or somewhere, and just Google the Bimotor hub centre steering. I think they call theirs the Omega chassis, or the Vyrus, and have a look. It is truly mind-blowing. There's a rear shock at both ends, and it's just crazy. There's linkages and all sorts, but apparently they're meant to be unreal to ride. I've never had the privilege, but you never know. But anyway, I'm rambling. Where do we end up on the setup? We ended up there. There's a bit of wiggle room in it. It handles so fast. I did knock the rake and trail down to 2. I mean, the wheelbase is already short anyway. It's a really stumpy bike with a really, if it had a rake on the forks, it would be incredibly steep, but it doesn't have any forks, so there's no rake, but by the by. So yeah, well, we'll talk about pros and cons. We'll get onto the pros and cons, and we'll talk about, but yeah, there's the setup. Aggressive calibrations as well. I did run soft when I did the Sugo fast race in the rain, just to try and calm the bike down, because what happened was it was snapping sideways on the gas, so I had to restart it and switch to soft calibration. But anyway, pros: great heat in the front tyre. If you are someone that struggles to get heat into a front tyre for a 600cc race bike, use this one. It will absolutely plough heat. Rain, shine, doesn't matter. High corner speed, because it reacts so nicely when you touch the controller. It tips in really nice, and it's stable as well. And that leads on to the final point: it's stable on the brakes. Cons: it's slow, it's not fast. I was getting absolutely annihilated by GSXR and Kawasaki 600s in a straight line. If you run the soft, you might overheat it. It does tend to put a lot of load through the front tyre, and it feels a bit funny, and it's so difficult to explain without going on a rant for 20 minutes. But yeah, it genuinely feels different to the other normally suspended bikes. So kudos to Milestone for getting that in. I don't know how they managed to do it. I was watching the replays back, and on the brakes, other bikes, you'll see the forks dip a little bit, and the gap between the bodywork and the mudguard will actually shrink. On this, not so much. So they've obviously done some work somewhere on the physics model, so they can get it right. They're just obviously being lazy with other bikes. But there you go, there's the winch. But yeah, all in all, good bike. Was fun. I might go back. We set a couple of fifths, didn't we? We did a fifth at Kanto, a fifth at VAR South. It's never going to get any closer at VAR South. It's not fast enough. But I might have another go at Kanto, and we'll see. The rest of them were all miles away, so I'm not going to bother. But yeah, there you go. Vyrus 986 M2 race bike. Weird name, weird bike. I should have put in the pros, shouldn't I? You don't need a vaccination for this one. That would have been good. But okay, alright. Anyway, we digress, and I'm going to go and carry on and do the next one. So thanks for watching, thanks for commenting, thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing, and fingers crossed I will see you next time. Take care, stay safe, peace.